Hello, my name's Rob and welcome to Swift Slots. Now over the last few months I've bought a few extra slot cars, who'd have thought it. Some of those cars you've seen on this channel, but some you haven't. So what I thought I would do is I'd make one video per day for the next 4 days and I would just document each of these cars briefly. So we'll take them apart on the table, show you inside, pop them on the turntable and then gently run them around Ricard Valley just so that we can see them in motion. So without further ado, let's get on my table and start these reviews. Okay, so let's start this little mini series with my very wonderful BMW M1 part number C347. Now this is a really nice car. I have a big soft spot for the old Scalextric cars. I just think there's something about them. There's a certain charm. I never had this one as a kid. I didn't have too many cars as a kid, and this definitely wasn't one of them. And I didn't know anybody with one. But sort of 50 years on, or 45 years on, it's just got a lot of appeal to me, just as something for now from something back when. So it's a very nice car. As you can see, I think I got it from eBay. It was a very reasonable price as I recall. And the box is in really good condition, as you can see. No real tears, no real splits. And it's just a standard sort of, I guess it was early 80s, late 70s box. So let's take a close look at the car itself, if I can get the box open without tearing it. So it's just your standard issue cardboard box. This is very cool because, oh, I got myself a spare set of tyres. Oh, I've put myself a spare set of tyres in there. That's interesting. Right, so this has got a picture background. So as far as I know, that's not wildly common, but it probably dates this car to a certain period in time, I dare say. So here is the car. It's got some very nice detail on it. Now, I dare say, well, I know for a fact, this chassis is going to be a little bit compromised due to its age. But even still, it is what it is. But the detail on these actual bodies I find on these old cars, if you were to take off all the livery and then spray them in a grey primer, you'd be surprised to how good these bodies are. And I think the only reason these cars lose a little bit of their, let's say, realism is just because of the livery application and the fact that it's a black plastic in this particular case rather than an actual paint. But if you were to actually lay down proper paint on one of these old cars with proper water slides and a proper clear, pick out all the door shut lines, pick out all the little bits of detail, they actually come to life very nicely. And then obviously if you put a decent chassis under them, they can actually go really very well. So as you can see, we've got a standard S-can motor on this one. With the actual motor spacer, it would appear we got 2 spacers on this one, front and rear, which is interesting because that means that as standard you could probably change that for a long can, which would give it some interesting handling, I'm sure. We've got a standard guide, nothing special there. This guide here has actually got the top hat pushed into them, so it's not the sort of weird way of doing it where you sort of got other methods. It's kind of your standard sort of more reliable guide on it. We see we got some nylon gears there as usual as standard. Got a nice bit of molded detail here on the back. We've got the actual muffler box there as well as the tips, which is quite nice. There's a little bit of daylight on the tips as well, which gives them much more definition on this particular car. We got some nice rear light detail there. I can't remember if this is lit, this car, but I guess we'll find out when we get it on the track. No number plate, which is, it may have lost it over time, I'm not entirely sure, but it certainly hasn't got one now. So there's a very nice rear wing on it with a nice bit of definition with the upper wing and the lower wing. So I got this from eBay because it had all of its attributes still on the car, i.e. the door mirrors and the rear wing and all the other bits and bobs. There's no chips or scratches on it, there's no bits missing. Got the lights in the front there, very nicely defined lights on this car. Really nice grill. Look at that, look, as you can catch it in the light. Now that would pick out really nicely if this car was in any other colour but black. So we got that. We got some nice wide arches, very nice on there, and the same on the rear, nice big arches. Really fantastic louver on the back there. You can actually see through the louvers as well. I'm not sure how well that's coming through on camera, but it's really good, and it's a slightly satin finish because of the texture. So it changes it a little bit. You've got some louvers up the top of the roof there. You've got some lovely definition on the body. Now if this was painted in a white or any other colour and you were to run some Tamiya panel liner in all these little lines, you get some fantastic definition over this car. And also with the door shut lines, you get some nice definition there as well. I dare say it was probably black around the windows, but again, in any other colour but black, that would look fantastic if that was all picked out. We got a standard interior there as well. It's just a flat bottom chassis or flat bottomed interior. We got the hint of a seat in there as well, passenger seat. Quite a nice detail there, but the main internal panel there is just flat. But the dashboard is very, very nicely defined. You got some nice air vents there all picked out as well, with the center console picked out very, very nicely. And I think you've got a molded in steering wheel there. I think it's just a molded steering wheel in there, so there's no detail other than just sort of a half arch. Yeah, it is. I can see it's like a half arch in there, but this does the job. And these driver figures don't look too bad. He's got slightly short arms, but he's not too bad at all. He looks pretty good in there. So there we are. And we say we got some faded wheels. I notice a lot of these cars do seem to have faded wheels, and I've been kind of debating whether I should give them a little repaint or not. I'm not entirely sure. Does it really matter? Probably not. But the tyres themselves, they're the ribbed style as well. These ones don't feel too bad. They don't feel too soft. Now, I did actually have this packet of tyres in this box. I probably put them there. I'm not sure if I changed them or whether these are ready to go on. I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. We're only going to trickle around the track just to see what she's like. But say underneath, you've got Scalextric BMW M1, and it's all fairly standard. So let's just whip this body off. This body is held in with just the one screw, so as seems to be typical with some of the older cars. And we'll see what's going on inside. I don't know if I've ever taken this chassis off, to be honest. Right, okay, so the front end has got all the detail clipping into the body. So you just lift him down and just unclip him from the back, because the back end clips in to the bumper. So there we are. Oh, as you can see, I definitely haven't been in here. Look at the state of that. Like I said, I got this second hand. That is absolutely minging. That could do with a clean. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We can see what's going on in here. So as you can see, we got a motor spacer in the front of the S-Can and a motor spacer in the back. I've personally not actually seen these spacers before, so this is all new to me. We just got one suppressor in there. It's not really needed, but it's there. Nice neat wires. They look like the original wires. Nice neat little top hat jobbies that go in the front there on the wire there. I can't remember what they're called. Little top hats. They're all nice and clean on this particular car. And we got a clear back gear, which is, it's not quite clear, but it's very, very close to clear. That's quite interesting. So we got the bearings and the pinion appear to be made out of exactly the same sort of grey plastic, but we've also got quite a lot of wobble in that back bearing there. So I don't suppose that's going to do a great deal for motor meshing. And that's got quite a lot of the old 70s Scalextrics we don't really care about performance slop. But there you are. This car really does need a clean, doesn't it? So what we'll do now, I think, I will clean this off camera, and then we'll pop it on the track. Well, I'll clean it, I'll oil it, and then we'll pop it on the track, and we'll see what this one looks like, just trundling gently around the track. Actually, we're not going to do that right now, because I've just gone to take this car apart off camera. Two things. First of all, I think you may want to see me taking this car apart. And secondly, this car's got a few bits going on with it that I didn't know about. So I thought I'd stop that and come back to the camera, and I'll show you what I found. So obviously, first of all, we got that silly floppy front axle, but that's not really of interest. What is of interest, if you unclip that back end, which is actually alarmingly easy to unclip, the motor is held in with two spacers. So if you just push the middle of that motor so it eases up like that, you can take the motor out. And what I noticed straight away is you've got this piece on the front here. Now, I've not come across, this looks like it's together with a couple of pieces. So you've got a spacer going around the motor itself. I'm not sure whether it's a wise thing to take this pinion off. It is a plastic pinion. But you've got a collar here, a spacer collar with a little register in the top. And you've also got this rear plate as well, completely separate again. So this is actually a two-piece motor spacer on the rear, or the front of the motor, I guess it would be. And then you've got this clip-in rear piece here, which simply clips into the chassis as well. So quite a convoluted way of actually holding this motor in. So you just clip that back in, and then you can put those two wings back in the front or the rear of the motor mount there. And if you lift up the front of the motor mount, and it's sort of got a tube and it registers into the back of that motor, and it simply clips in under the flex of the chassis itself. As you can see, if I flex the chassis, it's actually wanting to separate the motor all by itself. So I don't really know how strong that would be in anger when you're driving the car quite hard around the track. Or I use the word loosely hard because I don't know if you can drive this car wildly hard. But so there we are. I just thought I'd show you that. That's quite interesting. Right, now I'm going to pull it apart and I'm going to clean it and we'll get it around the track. So there we are. That's a short review of one of the slot cars that I've bought recently. So I hope you've enjoyed this sort of content, and if you have, maybe you'll subscribe. And if you could hit the little bell button, that would be awesome. So until the next time, thank you very much.